The parade ground shimmered under the late morning sun, a vast rectangle of concrete bordered by flags snapping in a disciplined wind. Nearly 1,000 troops stood in formation, boots aligned, shoulders squared, eyes forward. The ceremony was supposed to be routine, a show of order and hierarchy, medals and speeches, a reminder of who commanded whom. No one expected history to blink here. She stood off to the side with the instructors, posture relaxed but precise, the kind of stillness that came from years of knowing exactly where her balance lived. Her name badge read Lieutenant Commander Ava Morgan, though most people here only knew her as the visiting evaluator from Special Operations. She had trained men twice her size, led missions that never made the news, and learned early that respect could be borrowed from rank but was earned through competence. Today she was here to observe, nothing more. The Admiral arrived with the sound of applause and the click of cameras. He was a legend in his own mind, a career built on commands and corridors, a man used to rooms quieting when he spoke. As he passed the lines, he nodded curtly, eyes scanning faces like inventory. When he reached the instructors, his gaze lingered on Ava, curiosity curdling into something sharper. "Who's this?" he asked, voice amplified by the microphone clipped to his uniform. It wasn't meant for the crowd, but it carried anyway. The senior instructor answered crisply, explaining her role, her background, her credentials. The Admiral's lips thinned. He leaned closer, lowering his voice, though the front ranks could still hear the edges of his tone. "A woman evaluator," he said. "This is a combat unit." Ava met his eyes calmly. She had heard variations of this her entire career. She waited for the instructor to respond, but the Admiral waved him off. "I didn't ask you," he snapped, then turned back to her. "Do you even belong here?" There was a murmur through the formation, a ripple of discomfort. Ava felt it, acknowledged it, and let it pass. She spoke evenly. "Sir, I'm here by orders." The Admiral scoffed. "Orders can be wrong." He stepped closer, invading her space. Years of training clicked on like a switch. She adjusted her stance by a fraction, weight distributing, hands relaxed. She could smell the starch on his uniform, hear the faint hum of the PA system. He jabbed a finger toward her chest. "You think you can teach my men?" he said. "You think some patch makes you equal?" She didn't flinch. "With respect, sir, I don't teach equality. I teach survival." Laughter broke out from somewhere in the ranks, quickly stifled. The Admiral's face darkened. He raised his hand, anger boiling over into something reckless. The strike came fast, an open-handed slap meant to humiliate more than injure, the kind of gesture a powerful man believed he could get away with in front of subordinates. Ava moved. To the untrained eye, it looked like nothing at all, a blur of motion contained within a single breath. She stepped inside the arc of his arm, redirecting it with her forearm while her other hand guided his elbow. His balance disappeared. Gravity did the rest. The Admiral hit the concrete hard, the sound cracking across the parade ground like a rifle shot. Silence fell so complete it felt physical. Ava released him instantly and stepped back, hands open, palms visible. The Admiral lay stunned, staring up at the sky, breath knocked from his lungs. Metals clinked uselessly against the ground. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then Ava spoke, her voice steady, carrying without the microphone. "Don't forget," she said, eyes on him but words for everyone, "I'm a Navy SEAL." Gasps rippled through the formation. Officers rushed forward, medics called out. Commands half-formed and colliding. The Admiral was helped to his feet, his face flushed with shock and rage, but also something else, a dawning realization that the rules he relied on had just failed him. The base commander arrived at a run, piecing together the scene from fragments. He took in the Admiral's disheveled uniform, Ava's composed stance, the frozen ranks of troops. He listened as witnesses spoke, their accounts overlapping but consistent. A raised hand, an unprovoked strike, a response measured and immediate. Protocol moved in like a tide. Statements were taken, cameras were secured, the ceremony was quietly dismissed. Ava waited where she was told, breathing slow, heart rate already settling. She had acted within her training, within the law. She knew it, and she trusted the process, even if the process sometimes took its time. Hours later, in a small office that smelled of coffee and paper, she sat across from the base commander. He studied her for a long moment, then sighed. "You know what this means," he said. "Yes, sir. It's going to be loud." "It usually is." He nodded, a hint of a smile breaking through the fatigue. For what it's worth, you handled yourself professionally. Thank you, sir. Outside, word spread faster than any official statement. Troops replayed the moment in hushed tones, dissecting the technique, the audacity, the reminder that skill outranked ego when it came down to survival. For many, it was the first time they had seen authority checked not by insubordination but by competence. The investigation concluded swiftly. The facts were clear. The Admiral's actions were deemed inappropriate, his conduct unbecoming. Consequences followed, quiet but firm. Ava returned to her unit, the incident already folding into the classified fog of stories that would never be officially told but never truly disappear. Weeks later, she stood in a training bay with a new group of candidates. They watched her with a mix of respect and curiosity, the story having preceded her despite everyone's best efforts. She didn't address it directly. She never did. She taught them how to fall without breaking, how to read a room, how to decide in a fraction of a second whether to escalate or de-escalate. She taught them that violence was a tool, not a reflex, and that discipline meant controlling yourself when someone else lost control. At the end of the day, as the candidates filed out exhausted and exhilarated, one lingered. "Ma'am," he said, hesitant, "is it true what they say?" Ava considered him, then shrugged lightly. "What matters," she said, "is what you learn from it." She watched him leave, then turned back to the empty bay, the echoes of boots fading. Somewhere far away, another ceremony would be planned, another speech written. Power would posture, egos would flare, and somewhere in the middle of it all, men and women like her would keep doing the quiet work that actually kept people alive. If stories like this matter to you, if you want to hear more about strength, discipline, and the moments that change everything, don't forget to subscribe to the channel Her World Stories. Every follow helps these stories reach the people who need them, and there are many more waiting to be told.